My name is Millard Wesley Birch. I grew up in pretty much for most of my childhood in Cairo, Georgia. But back and forth, I lived between Florida and Georgia, Ocala National Forest and Cairo, Georgia. Barefoot on the back roads kind of thing. Grew up poor, but simple country, I guess. No, story I'm about to tell you of saga of hoes clapping ass. Well, let me start off with this. My background and my heritage is Spanish, white, Native American, and a lot of people say that I could be very intelligent, possibly. I don't hide that because of the dynamic of what I went through. In general, they never gave me a fucking ancestry test, and they never gave me an IQ test before they did what they did. So frankly, truthfully, I don't give a fuck. Now, I think about the things that I went through, and I would literally live something that most people would write about. I'm literally having to write about it and post videos in order just to get my legal rights after what happened. See, the thing about it is that, let me put it to you like this. I watched The Circle recently. Circle in general is showing the transparency of somebody's life, what would happen. Me and somebody going completely transparent. Well, first of all, the definition of transparency is translucent, bring the light, see-through. So let's say somebody accidentally goes transparent without them realizing that they become viral, without even realizing that they're viral. What happens is two different things, a positive or a negative outcome. Well, that is based off of social judgment in general. So at that point in time that you are socially judged before you are legally judged, that means that social judgment outweighs legal judgment. That social rights in general, the application of sociology in general, could outweigh your legal rights as a human being, as a citizen. Now, with this in mind, in the movie, at first it seemed, I guess, how to put it. Well, needless to say, the outcome of the situation was that her family became socially pressured. Her friend literally ran off the road, or constantly death threats, to the dynamics of where he was pretty much well isolated. Now, with all this in mind, most people think that it's cool to go viral. Popularity in general is awesome. But what if it's negative popularity? It can destroy somebody's life. Especially when you get on the radar of people that have very high persuasion or very powerful persuasion and economical status. For instance, the fact of the matter is you could go to a hospital and be trying to get some health care, be wanting to be seen by a doctor. Well, the dynamic of it is that if their economical status and power of persuasion is instilled, especially when you being on their radar, they can easily persuade the dynamic of your health care. And that's exactly what happened to me. But that's on the later part of the story. Before this starts off, I definitely say that internal affairs should investigate Cairo City Police Department in Cairo, Georgia, and the Grady County Sheriff Department in Cairo, Georgia. Now, this story involves skinheads, Treo, as well as MLB Roberto fucking Perez from the Cleveland Indians, NBA Cleveland Cavaliers, Toronto Raptors, Houston Rockets. Players that were mainly involved were LeBron James, James Harden, Chris Paul, and Jonas Valanciunas. In NHL, it was the Pittsburgh Penguins and Chris Crosby. And with CBS, it was the late night show host of Stephen Colbert and the late late show host of James Corden. Now, how does this all tie together? Well, to be honest with you, it's it's a chain of events that caused this, that caused that, that led to this, that led to that. Why am I saying this to you? Because I deserve my rights as an American citizen, my legal rights. And I tried to seek lawyers, and I was gridlocked. I went to one lawyer in Tallahassee or whatever, and I had a woman say, well, he was the guy that's going to sue LeBron James, so I'm not suing one of our own. Which is kind of funny in general, because the dynamic of it is that I didn't know that suing another American suing another American was that big of an issue. But before starts off, because it does involve skinheads, this is more, to me, this is not about race. There's black, white, and Hispanic people involved in this. And frankly, I'm pinning the criminal acts against the legal system. Nothing more, nothing less. And this also involves politicians. Big name politicians. And that will be brought to light very fucking soon too. Why? Because I ain't never been no punk. See, where did I get the name of the saga of hoes clapping ass? Well, when I think of a hoe, I think of something supple. Supple, moist, soft. A punk. That's what I think of. Punk. People that think they have they know the definition of hard. Just because of the fact that they have an economical status. See, to me in general, as I've always said growing up, is that hard was never a material for me. Hard was never a physical outcome. Hard was never a fist fight for me. Hard to me was about going against the odds. I guess that's the reason why I'm posting this video. Well, it's because in general is that I said it, so now I gotta stand by it. I gotta stand on my toes. Standing on your toes in general, you ain't got no clicks. You ain't got no nothing except yourself. And you set your hands, throwing up your hands. That's all you got. And before the end, we start this off right now. I'm not a skinhead, and I definitely ain't no Treyo, and I definitely ain't no skinhead. I died before I be neither. I've never been in any fucking gang. I joined the Masons when I was a little younger. Other than that, I've never been involved in any affiliation of criminal organizations or dynamics of any organizations but the Masons. So let me start this off. As I said, this starts off technically in Tallahassee. Everybody already claims they know everything about me. And some of us are scared pretty much. And some of the negative situations are negative situations. How did this happen? Social judgment, becoming popular. Well, sooner or later you realize that through social judgment, everybody being connected, you can be gridlocked on jobs. And that's what happened to me in Tallahassee. I was pretty much walked back and forth, walked several miles just trying to make ends meet back and forth to my jobs in Tallahassee. Sooner or later, I had no place to stay. I was working 2 different jobs, and I was pretty much about to be homeless. They applied pressure to my family. My brother was nervous to help me out or whatever because of the social dynamic. So I ended up going back to Georgia, in Cairo, Georgia, staying with my uncle. Now, staying with my uncle, it started getting worse. It was more isolated because now I was looking at the people that I grew up with. And there was a situation that led to another situation. Apparently there was supposed to be some people that was going to shoot me because everybody thought I was some fucked up individual. Let me put it to you like that. I've seen dynamics of fucked up situations of people that have done way more fucked up things in life and done way more worse things, yet have their legal rights. Some of them are big names too. But because I was average, I was a nobody. Kind of like cattle in a way. Anyways, and I'll explain the cattle situation later on. So I get back there, and apparently instead of the cops doing their job, they were going to let somebody shoot me. My uncle couldn't defend me because of the fact that matters that they would frame my uncle. At least that was the word that was being spread around town. Well, got to a point where I stayed up for several nights because they were waiting for me to fall asleep. They said if I fall asleep, they were going to shoot me or whatever. So I stayed up for several days. I'm talking several days. And I heard them say that they were going to, after they were done with me, that my uncle knew too much and they was going to take my uncle out. So I go to stay in town, scared to come back to my uncle's house. I go to 3 Squares Diner. And I get to the 3 Squares Diner, and by this time I'm worn out. Well, I order some food, drink some coffee, and then I go back to a Walmart. And I stand outside the Walmart, and I stay out there all night because I'm leaning against the wall because I can't fall asleep. And I'm scared to go back to my uncle's house because of the case of it was isolated out in the country. And I didn't want nobody to get hurt. So I stand outside the Walmart and I waited till the next daybreak. And this was in Cairo, Georgia. So I ended up walking to the 3 Squares. By this time I'm mentally fucking drained, very exhausted. And this happens to me. This sleep deprivation happens to me over the whole story pretty much. And truthfully, I don't know how the fuck I'm still here. But I am. I'm thankful. So I go to 3 Squares Diner, and I'm completely tired, and I order a cup of coffee, whatever. And by this time, I'm pretty much standing outside, and some skinheads stop. Well, I don't know if exactly it was the skinhead stop first, and then I went to Walmart, or Walmart happened before that. But either way, what happened was a skinhead stopped. They said, well, if he wants to live, he'll become a skinhead. Let me make something perfectly clear. Growing up, my best friend was black and gay. My other best friend was country and redneck as fuck. But he wasn't ignorant. My nephew's mixed. So, I guess in general is that I would have fucking died before I became a skinhead. which is fucked up later on in the story if you think about it. But anyways, so I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there or whatever, and this family pulls up to this restaurant, Mr. Chicks. And he said, well, thinking about letting them join? And he said, I don't know, he's got dye in his family. Dye. As in a color in his family. They spoke to it like it was almost a dynamic of impurity. Pissed me off. Really did. Because I think of my family, and I don't think of impurities. I think of somebody's skin tone, I don't think something impure. Anyways, so I go back to Walmart. Apparently they were going to bring the shooters up there. So I get ready to fight. Now, I will 100% admit that my head at that time was buzzed. And it was buzzed because I grew up fucking poor. And most people that grow up poor have a set of fucking clippers in their house, so they cut their fucking hair. That's it. I had my uncle's work boots on. Why? Because I had no other motherfucking shoes, because I couldn't have a fucking job. Because I was being socially judged. So he gave me his worn out work boots. That was all I had. So I'm thinking about it. They said something like they wanted to see what I had. And they were supposed to bring the shooters up to Walmart, so they get me hyped up. So pretty much, well, I get ready to fight, and they never show. But several skinheads apparently walked inside, or I was being watched. And by this time, another dynamic played out. So I sat down in front of the car wash by the Carroll Walmart, and I had some money. I think somebody handed me some money. Now, this is a long story, and the times and the dates have not been correctly outlined yet. Plus, I went through a lot of different dynamics of sleep deprivation. But in general, I still have to get the timelines and locations and dates in order. But it's 100% authentic. I sat outside. This car wash or whatever, and I had a couple of honey buns. Bought a couple of honey buns, and because they were 50 cents off, filling bread. I needed sugar to keep me, stay awake, and I bought a Mountain Dew. A Mountain Dew or a Pepsi. I think it was a Pepsi. It doesn't matter what I bought. Apparently, I heard people talking is that they wanted me to sleep with this woman or sleep with this girl that was underage in order to actually make me do a bid because of what people were socially judging me on. They wanted me to do a horrible act so they can justify horrible actions. They said if I didn't do it, they were going to beat my uncle over the head. Or if I didn't join, they was going to beat my uncle over the head. Before I know it, before I was able to make it back, I thought my uncle was beaten over the head. So I take off walking. Towards Thomasville because a cop tells me that I need to leave town. And there's another situation with the Cairo Police Department. But I need to leave town, so I start walking. I walked to Thomasville, and from Thomasville, started walking, and I get to this church. This church going towards Valdosta, black church. Sat down. There's a church. It wasn't a black church, it wasn't a white church, it was just a church. There's black folk inside. And I asked for some water because I was thirsty. I was dehydrated. And I sat down. And I heard this young gentleman preach a little bit. And they said because I sat down, they were going to blow out my legs. Apparently, all the way through this story, I was supposed to be in some way either mutilated. I was definitely tortured or threatened, or my life was supposed to be taken. So they said if I sat down, they was gonna blow out my legs. So I sat down on purpose. Sat down, drank my water, walked out. And I sat in the ditch in front of the church. I didn't know what to do. I had no money. I had my wallet, my ID at that point still. But everybody I knew was being socially pressured. So what am I supposed to do from there? So I sat there. The church closed up for the night. And I was sitting outside underneath this light in front of the church. I hear these two guys around the corner. Same two guys that supposedly were supposed to shoot me when I was at my uncle's. Well, I didn't know it was the same two guys, but I thought it was different guys because of the fact that it was the horrible act that they wanted me to do. They wanted me to sleep with this young girl, and I thought it because apparently somebody else slept with her to make it look like me, and they were gonna frame me or something. I don't know exactly how it went down, but I thought it was her brothers because they kept saying they should. Because they kept saying that it shouldn't have did something or something like that. Now, at this point, I'm at my wit's end. By the time I made it to Thomasville, they saying they were going to OD my mother on heroin. With the opiate epidemic, it'd be very fucking easy. Blah 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 blah. Now. So, I tell them to do what the fuck they gotta do. Do what the fuck you gotta do. Just afterwards, put down the gun. It's the only thing I ask. And I went to sleep. After I went to sleep or whatever, I thought I was going to sleep for my last night, pretty much. I woke up. I was surprised that I woke up. And something to do that the skinheads wanted them to blow out my legs because they wanted me alive. They wanted me to do a bid. Excuse me. But they didn't. Next day, I tried walking in the steel-toe boots that my uncle gave me or whatever was hurting my feet, and it was cutting into my feet, so I couldn't make the walk no more. So I sat there, and a cop showed up. He gives me a ride to Valdosta. And he pretty much well said that he's like, what, you don't want to join? He's like, they're just gonna beat you up a little bit, blah 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 blah. At least that's what it sounded like, because he was talking in the front seat. He did it underneath the radio. And after that or whatever, he let me out in Valdosta. So, in Valdosta, they said they were going to kill my family. They was going to pretty much well kill my family if I didn't join, blah, 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 blah. At this point in time, they put me through hell. I lost my wallet at a convenience store sitting in this old chair. Then I go to this over across the street to this this motel. I sit in the lobby. And the people in the lobby kick me out after a minute. I'm sitting in the grass. And after I'm sitting in the grass, I'm hearing some guys talking about, well, they want to do this or whatever, and keep an eye on me, about this. And well, next day, I go up to this Waffle House that was near the motel, and I sat down and I ordered something, and this gentleman walked up and asked me if I was okay, and I asked him if I could borrow my phone, call my grandmother, and I apologized for my uncle because I'm thinking my uncle's dead. And I couldn't stop crying pretty much while I was on the phone. Afterwards, he said, "Is there anything I could do?" I said, "Is there any possibility you can get me a bus ticket?" He said, "Where to?" I said, "Anywhere." He said, "Yeah." So he takes me to go get a bus ticket. And see his ticket. Get a ticket to Nashville. My friend that I grew up with lives outside of Nashville. So I get on the bus and I sit down next to this gentleman in a Haitian accent. Apparently he was involved with somebody else that wanted me dead. He kept saying that, he's like, and supposedly from what everybody was whispering on the bus, he had a knife on him. And so I said, fuck it. I sat down next to him. And he was on the phone, and I couldn't understand exactly what he said, but I remember him saying that he said this motherfucker really want to fly. Because I literally just laid back, leaned over for my neck, and I went to sleep. He didn't realize it, so I was already flying. I didn't give a fuck. Afterwards, I ended up able to text my friend or whatever, and I asked him if I could come and stay. He said I couldn't. Now, I didn't know what to do. I had no money. I lost my wallet. So I just stayed on the bus. They said this bus is going to Cleveland, Ohio. The last stop was Cleveland, Ohio. When they said Cleveland, I was thinking of the Travel Channel. My ex. But I had the places mixed up. I was thinking of Cincinnati, but I was going to Cleveland, Ohio. So I ended up meeting a woman that was on the bus there, and I almost get off the bus on several locations. But afterwards, I didn't have enough money. First I got to a bus stop in Atlanta. Now Atlanta, apparently, I had some skinheads there, and they said that they was gonna cut me or whatever. Or they were gonna have the cops shoot my legs out, fake my death, or say I had this or say I had that to I guess make me do a bid. And two skinheads there said, because technically I have never done nothing to nobody, but yeah, they were going to bend the criminal system in order to actually criminalize me because of social judgment. So the skinheads there, they said, well, he's on the yard, he's going to wish he was with us. I said, first of all, I never got a fucking proper invitation. And second of all, I don't really want to fucking join. So I said, if they're going to shoot me, then I'm going to make sure that we're going to play for keeps. So I take 2 aspirins to thin out my blood. So now they couldn't shoot me. That was the only defense of living. It's either they shoot me and they kill me, and they gotta be responsible for killing somebody, or I live. Checkers. It was a game of checkers. So I try to switch boards and I go to chess, and I try to jump on a bus to Dallas, Texas. They kick me off the bus to Dallas, Texas. I get back on the bus towards Cleveland, Ohio. Well, when I'm there, they said they were going to keep sending skinheads on the bus with me to follow me where I went, and when I got off, they were still going to get me. So I get meet this woman there. Meet this woman, and she has her own problems and probably came from a rough background, but she was kind to me at that point. And I didn't have nobody else being kind to me. So they kicked me off the bus at another stop, and I was just one stop out from Cleveland, Ohio. And somehow she was managed to get money to, we scrounged up money to pay for a ticket to get me to Cleveland, Ohio. And at the time, I'm thinking this is Cincinnati. Like, what I saw on the Travel Channel, I'm thinking it was Cincinnati. So, I get there, and we get to Cleveland, Ohio. We ended up staying in a shelter. They said it was summer, but it was still chilly as hell, consider where I'm from. And all I got is my orange hoodie, pair of jeans, worn out boots, and a t-shirt. And so I go to get off at Cleveland, Ohio. We go to the shelter, and shelter there, they said something about that if I fall asleep after they gave me a cot or whatever. The shelters are separated: women's shelter, male shelter. After they gave me a bump, that if I fell asleep, they possibly gonna slit my throat in my sleep. So I try to stay awake as much as possible. If I end up falling asleep, so if I fall asleep, it might be my last. Checkers. Made my peace, went to sleep. Woke up next day. Surprised. Ran back into the woman. Can't remember her name. And she had her own problems, or whatever. She was dealing with her battles. And kept telling her that if she helps me, I'll help her. And she wanted to go off and get it fixed.